We are going on another Drive Tribe adventure, but sadly, it'll be the Hellcat's last. We are taking it back to where we got it from, Germany, but it'll be one last drive to somewhere that should definitely be on your European bucket list. We are going to Bilsterberg, a once top secret circuit in the west of Germany that was open to the public just a while ago, but is barely known compared to other European tracks. The Nürburgring may get all the limelight, but this place seemingly has everything that the Green Hell has, just in miniature. Our aim? To see whether this circuit is as intense, as spine-tingling, as the rumours would have us believe. Is it a hidden gem? An automotive El Dorado? We received the Dodge with just 75 miles on the clock back in March 2022, but by the end of this journey, we will have clocked up 18,000 miles on the car. To get to the track, we will be using the sponsor of today's video, Eurotunnel. It could not be a better fit, whether you're travelling via car to Europe, or whether you're coming from Europe to the UK for a road trip to visit us at the Smallest Cog, for example. We are using Flexi Plus, which allows you to arrive at Folkestone to your own dedicated check-in before chilling out, knowing you can get on any train departing throughout the day. You can arrive, park up and eat plenty of cake, some soup, read a book, watch some telly, all in the exclusive lounge. Once you're happy with your level of chill, you can simply get back in your car, head down the Flexi Plus lane and be the first on and off the train. Also, UK residents now qualify for tax-free shopping in the European Union, where we save money on VAT on our purchases. A whole number of items qualify: cosmetics, jewellery, technology, and food and drink items. You simply purchase those things in the EU, validate those purchases at a Pablo kiosk in the Calais terminal, and then you will get the VAT refunded to your credit card. Thank you to Eurotunnel for sponsoring today's video. It's not long now until we pop out the other side. I cannot wait for what's at the end of this drive. If you fancy making a full touristy trip of it, you can easily stop to soak in some history at Dunkirk, wonder at the architecture at Bruges, watch a nuts bell car race at Zolder, or you can do what we've done and make a beeline for this place. It's an alternate German petrolhead paradise. Welcome to Bilsterberg. This patch of land deep in the Teutoburg forest of West Germany was once a British ammunition depot until us lot bailed out in 1993. The land was then returned to the previous owner, Count Marcus von something or other, who just so happens to be a massive petrolhead. In 2011, he got racetrack royalty, Hermann Tilke, into designing a track that would be the first in West Germany for over 80 years. And the result was Bilsterberg. It started off as a secret track for manufacturers to use for private testing, but it soon changed into the petrolhead resort it is now for folk like you and me. Although it's more for car clubs because it's quite expensive, so there's room for you all to pitch in. It's not the longest of tracks, it comes in at just under 2.7 miles, but I've been told a ridiculous test of driving is squeezed into that distance. Let's have a go then. The West German weather forecast suddenly decides to throw everything it has at us, from a tiny bit of sunshine to rain, but predominantly snow. Which is great when you're in a 750 horsepower V8 supercharged muscle car. Hermann the designer set out to make this place the track with the most gradient you will have ever seen. There's a constant gradient going on throughout the lap. None of this track is flat. You're either going uphill, downhill, and it all comes at you very quickly. You have to be concentrating every single second of driving this track. Compared to Silverstone, you could read a book while you're going around Silverstone compared to this place. What is helping me out, despite how cold it is today, is I have put on brand new Michelin PS4S tyres on it. Thank you, Michelin, for sending those through. The car is gripping much better than the tyres that were on it before. Just like, well, in my opinion, all the great circuits, they utilise nature. This track utilises this hillside to amazing effect. Nature has done the job for Hermann Tilke before he's even got here. You just need to kind of do a bit of a sketch, make sure it comes back on itself, and you're good to go. And then on the far end of the circuit, you get to the centrepiece of Bilsterberg. This is the Mausefälle, which translates as mousetrap. It's a 26-degree drop into a bowl, and then you're back up 26 degrees to get back on even a vaguely flat bit of track. Blind corner out here. Oh, wow, that feels good. What a track! Immediately, you can understand why manufacturers come here, because it's such a good test of everything that you'd want a performance vehicle to be good at. You can focus on the steering, you can focus on the traction. If you want, you can pile on the brakes into some of these corners. And then the suspension is constantly moving. And you can actually see around, there's all the individual pit garages that if you were to hire this place, you could utilise. Some of them have manufacturer signs above them. I've just seen Radical have got one over there. A Radical round here would be intense. This corner is called Bravery Corner. It's probably the biggest, longest corner on the track, so you can get some proper speed through it, but it's also the corner with the most runoff. That is one thing about this track. There's really not much between you and the barrier. Like the Nürburgring, you've got a strip, maybe 10 feet of grass. If you're lucky, there'll be some gravel there waiting for you, but then you're straight on the barrier. I think, to be honest, the pit lane is the epitome of this track. It has lumps and bumps all the way down it, and the pit exit, you're elevated above the track. I think it's one of the coolest pit exits I've ever seen. What's really interesting is, guess who's got this track booked for the afternoon once we're done with it here? The local police. They use this place for driver training for emergency response vehicles. If you can master this track, you will be a fantastic driver. There's no two ways about it. I'm never going to get used to how quickly the track disappears here. Although this is essentially the farewell tour of our Charger Hellcat on the channel, I must admit, the best car around here, it seems a bit obvious, but I think I'd go for a 997 GT3. Although maybe, actually, that BMW 1M V8 I drove about a year ago. Round's quite a similar track, actually. That would be epic round here. To fully quantify just how leery this track is, let me take you for a full lap of Bilsterberg. To start with, the pit straight meanders uphill and left, before a tight right, followed by essentially the same thing again. A couple of off-camber left and right later, and you've reached the top of the hill, at which point you plunge down into the mousetrap. You clip the curb on the left and then have the space to wash out to the outside of the corner, but in these conditions, I kept the Dodge nice and to the left. Then up to my favourite corner, a blind right back up the top of the hill. A tight chicane then leads you onto the back straight, which predictably is full of undulations, leading to Bravery Corner before the final complex, a beautiful Nordschleife-esque combination that rewards plenty of commitment. And there you have it, a lap of Bilsterberg. I don't think I will ever daily drive a car that will have as nice a supercharged spine as this, even my recently restored Jag XKR. The fact that this engine comes out of the factory is just unbelievable. Mousetrap, in we go. Oh God. Back up the hill. It's quite surreal driving through snow in a 750 horsepower long-term test car round a mini Nürburgring. Why does Richard Hammond pay me to do this? I think his fair to say that Bilsterberg moves you in many more ways than just one. This place is named Bilsterberg Drive Resort because if all your friends pitch in, you can hire this place all to yourselves, including the numerous workshops within the property to tinker with your pride and joys, a kick-ass clubhouse to sit back, relax and reflect on your lap times, a really nice restaurant where I've had some of the best trackside food, and not to mention a little something that I've always wanted to try with the Hellcat, a skid pan. Also nearby, there are some top-class hotels with super comfy beds, other restaurants, and let's face it, it's always nice to be a bit different rather than road tripping to the more well-known circuits in Europe. And with that, our adventures with the Hellcat come to a close. It's been 750 horsepower of American silliness that has seen us go on a road trip with the Stig, get a roasting from James May, survive a commute with Richard Hammond, completely change colour, and then today do its best to show how fantastic a track Bilsterberg is. If you have a WhatsApp group of car folks then and you fancy going on a holiday to one of the greatest petrolhead resorts on the continent, you'd do very well to give this place a ring. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I've been Mike, and don't forget to subscribe to Drive Tribe. It's properly snowing now. 6.2 litre supercharged heavy V8.
Not going to be silly. Oh, a bit silly, maybe.
Please be my guest, Your Majesty.
What on earth is that? Look at me!
It reminds me of the Smurf.
Feels wrong.
It's not discreet, it's not polite.
Actually, it is quite cool.